It kept going. It made me feel okay about just hibernating for the day.
I did see a lot of posts about that with a bottle of wine.
Yes, we kind of leaned into it. We leaned into it. And then the next day when it cleared up, I had one of the best like 90 to 2 hour snow shovels of my life.
Were the boys out there with you?
They were not. They were inside. One of them was en route back from Barrington, but it was sunny out. I actually got hot.
Yeah.
I had a cold Modelo Especial after it was all done. It was just, I don't know, there was something awesome about the whole thing.
I completely agree with you. Usually, like the last snowfall we had, I was like, this is too cold. I don't want to go outside. Kind of miserable about it. This weekend, I embraced it totally. I'm with you. Saturday, we did like the indoor stuff. We did some gingerbread houses when the snow was really coming down. Kids played outside for 2 seconds. And then Sunday, I got outside, and I know hopefully we can. Yeah.
You leaned into it.
I was like, we're doing an egg.
Oh yeah. Oh, we went snow fort sledding the whole, and then we decided the time had come for decorating the whole entire house. We did a little Home Depot run, got some lights up, got the tree up, and it just felt like perfect timing on this first snowfall. And then it looked so beautiful in our neighborhood. So I am, the last couple winters, I don't want to jinx things, they've been a little easier than, you know, what we saw in 2011, 2014, whenever those massive winters were. So I've been dreading, I don't know, I feel like I've been getting wimpier and wimpier about snowfall, but this one just kind of set me, and I leaned into it. I loved it. I thought it was a nice festive snowfall.
It's so funny because I agree completely, and I think it was because it was on a Saturday we got the snow, so Sunday we could like recover from it, but also enjoy it. My whole thing is, adults, if you don't like the snow, make sure you're dressed the right way. Because we were talking to Natalie this morning, and Antho and I were like, yeah, we went outside, we enjoyed it. You got to get the snow pants. So purchase a pair of snow pants, adults. Get you some warm boots that are waterproof and some good gloves, and then you can be outside and enjoy it and not be uncomfortable too.
Exactly, because the kids, when they're in those snow pants and in the, you know, the bib and everything, they love rolling around, and they're impervious. So
you can't
sometimes you're like, oh, you know, I'm just gonna, you know,
run outside. And my boots that are cute but not warm.
I understand you built and maybe Brad could turn this around. Oh, he's working on it. Caitlin, I'll tease it then.
Okay.
Caitlin built an igloo.
Yeah.
That is how motivated you are.
Well, here's the thing, and I was challenged. My husband, he's like, you can't build, you're not gonna be able to do that. The kids aren't gonna last. The snow's not right for it. I was like, yes, it is, and yes, I will, and yes,
perfect
I will.
Snow.
But actually, they didn't last the whole time, and by the time I finished this thing, I was so determined. The kids were already inside. They were too cold. It was embarrassing, too.
Did you stay out to complain?
Yes, I did, Anthony. And the worst part is, I was getting so tired because when I tell you building this thing is incredibly tiring.
It was heavy snow.
Scooping up the inside is the hardest part. Like, we got the big mound together with all the snow. The girls were like, when are we done? I'm like, when there's no snow left. We're getting all this in one pile. So then, like, scooping it out is so tiring. I would just lay there, like, can't move, and like my neighbors would be driving by. So embarrassing. I'm like out by myself.
I love it. Her kids are inside. Caitlin was still outside.
Such a weirdo. But have you noticed that kids these days don't spend time outside like we used to?
It's probably the screen time effect. My kids lasted a bit in the morning. They spent a couple hours out there, and then my oldest went sledding out in Barrington Hills.
Okay, so he was outside.
He was outside.
Today. Maybe my kids are a little young still.
They're a little young.
When I was like, you know, elementary, I remember the reason I wanted to build this igloo is because when I was a kid, we had this epic igloo. It had like a slide that went in. Me and my girlfriend outside. All day long. All day long.
All day long.
If it was snowing, we were outside till it was dark.
It's awesome that you did that, because if Mike's correct, we could be seeing this snow on the ground for weeks, because there's no
low freezing temperatures.
There's nothing above 32 in the immediate forecast, right?
And we have 1 to 4 inches of snow again today. So in case you didn't know, we do have a winter weather advisory in place from 2 p.m. until midnight for Chicago. It starts a little bit later, 3 or 4 for Northwest Indiana, until about 3 a.m. But this evening, the snow is going to be coming down. So if you look at these temps, to Anthony's point, take a look at Thursday. So our high on Thursday is 18 degrees, which, by the way, Wednesday afternoon we have the chance for snow again, but lows in the single digits Thursday morning, Friday morning. And then a little bit of snow possible Friday night.
So
but the temperatures...
two more snowfalls this week.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal temperatures.
Yeah.
So that was another thing, too. I thought, you know what? I'm building this igloo because it's sticking around.
Yeah, that thing is going to be... Well, Brad was saying it's time to wire electricity into that thing, get a little TV out there.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. Get a little lantern,
Well, I can't wait to see the picture. All right, we got a nice little lineup for you to kick off the work week here. We are going to be joined by the Biblioracle from Chicago Tribune. He's helping people find their next great read, stocking stuffers for the holidays. And this is cool because he will hand tailor his recommendations based on the previous 5 books that you've read.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
And also, a new book is telling the true story of an orphan living in Chicago in the 19th century. And the author is joining us to tell us more about this
I'm
book.
fascinated by Chicago history, and that will be fascinating as well. But before we get to that, we are joined by our finance expert, Pattie Ehsaei, to talk about the month of December and how to navigate our holiday shopping without breaking the budget. Pattie, happy holidays.
Hi, happy holidays. I'm dressed for it.
Yes, you look very, very festive.
Love it.
I absolutely love it. Okay, let me start off by asking you this. How much can or does the holiday season typically set the average person back? How much are we spending?
Well, the average person gets into about $3,000 worth of debt when they spend money for the holidays. So I'm here to tell you that under no circumstances should you go into debt buying holiday gifts, because holiday gifts are optional, they're not mandatory.
Okay, so how do we avoid going into debt? How much should we be spending?
You have to plan, okay? So the rule is that you are not to spend more than 1% of your gross annual income on holiday gifts, period. So if you make $60,000 a year, you're not going to spend more than $600 on holiday gifts total, okay? That is total. So that is the maximum amount that you can spend. Do not go into debt spending any more than that.
I like that. You can just work backwards from that number.
1%.
You know, come up with your Christmas,
Yes.
like who you need to buy for, then work backwards from that gift. One thing we also want to ask you about too, and this is a little tangent from the topic at hand, but tipping. Okay, tipping during the holiday season. What is your advice there in terms of who we should be tipping and how much?
Yeah, so you should be tipping anyone that provides a service to you on a regular basis throughout the year. So your hairdresser, dog walker, if you have someone coming in and cleaning your home, all those people should get a tip. And typically you tip them the amount of one cost of service, okay? That's the general rule. Now you should also tip your mail carrier, your sanitation person, those types of people, any building staff, but those types of people, you only need to give about $10 to $15 worth of gift cards or even cold hard cash, because people always love cash.
Okay, so maybe you're in a debt-free journey and you don't have extra money laying around. You didn't have time to prepare.
Yes.
Really, you didn't prepare for the holidays. What's another way that we can show appreciation for loved ones or people who do a service for us without spending money?
So there are 3 ways that you can do this. The first one is regifting. And yes, regifting is okay as long as it's thoughtful. So for example, I don't drink it all, but someone gave me this beautiful bottle of wine. And I know one of my friends really loves wine. So I regifted that wine to her because I know that she would like it. So there's nothing wrong with regifting as long as it's thoughtful. The next one is rethrifting. And a lot of Gen Z are really into this, where you go to a thrift store, you can buy amazing clothes, amazing goods, and amazing gifts that you could.
Yeah. Oh no, I think we
lost her mic. I was wondering if something happened with my
No, I
earpiece.
can't hear her either.
Hey Pattie, can you
frozen?
check? She might. I don't know if she froze or if she could check her her mic. That's good though.
Oh, there she is.
Are you back?
I'm back.
Oh yay! Okay.
Okay, where were we?
Okay, so you were saying
Regifting,
yes,
regifting.
yes, rethrifting.
Yes, rethrifting is really great. Gen Z loves this. So you go to a thrift store and you can buy amazing gifts and amazing products at a fraction of the cost. Or you can do DIY gifts. You can literally make cookie baskets for everyone at a price of, I don't know, $3 per basket. And people love those types of gifts.
They do.
This might fall under the question or the category of an etiquette question, but we can tell, Pattie, that you have amazing etiquette as well. If someone buys you a gift but you did not get them anything, what is the best way to handle that?
So unfortunately, people handle this the wrong way. People they're like, oh my gosh, they get so nervous and they go out and they buy the other person a gift. Yeah. That's not the way it works. The other person the other person already knows that you don't have a gift for them, right? Mm-hmm. So what you do is that you accept the gift very graciously and you say, wow, I didn't realize we were exchanging gifts, so I don't have one for you, but thank you so much for your generosity in getting me one. And you just leave it at that and you just keep it moving.
Do you think that means, like, in the subsequent years that you have to buy that person a present expecting them to buy you one?
Absolutely not. And I always say, if you're not going to exchange gifts, you can let your friends and family know earlier, so there's no uncomfortable situations. So all you have to do is say, this year I'm prioritizing my finances, so I will not be participating in a gift exchange. However, I would love for us to spend some time together, do some sort of experience so we can share the holidays together. That way you just, you know, forget the awkwardness of someone giving you a gift and you not having one for them.
Got it, got it. You mentioned rethrifting, you mentioned kind of DIYing stuff like baked goods. Pattie, do you have any other advice for folks who want to give gifts without overspending on those gifts?
Yes, the best thing that you guys can do is start planning early and start saving early. So start in January. Think about how much your budget is for gifts and start saving early. When you do that, then when you get to December.
Oh no, Pattie froze up on us once again.
I have a little bit of a tip and advice.
Okay.
Go to the Target dollar section or a dollar store and buy some just little items that you can say thank you on the fly. Like, for example, and I didn't do this, but I wish I had. Really, I'm trying to give my
no, it's fine.
Over the weekend, we got all this snow, right? Well, my husband's friend came over and shoveled our driveway because he has this huge plow on his truck.
Nice.
And I was like, what am I going to give this guy to say thank you? So I got like one of my old gift bags, filled that thing up with beer, and gave it to him. I was like, I wish I had a clean six-pack or something, but like, if I had gone to Target and gotten little things of chocolates or whatever, then you could just say, hey, thanks.
There you go. Have them ready to go on the fly. That's a great call.
Yeah.
That's a great call.
And maybe not even like holiday-esque things.
Yeah, you could do like a lotto. You could buy like a bunch of Mega Millions or Powerball tickets, have them like ready to go.
Yeah.
And those won't break the bank either.
Yeah.
Do we have Pattie back? Oh, there you are, Pattie.
I don't know what's going on with my internet.
Mercury is in retrograde, as my wife would say.
Okay, Pattie, so what are some things that people might forget during the holidays? Just doesn't even cross our mind.
Some of the things people forget is that the holidays are not about spending money. Okay, a lot of people think the holidays are about spending money and that's why they go into debt. The holidays is about spending quality time with your loved ones. And gifts, like I said, are not mandatory. They are optional, and never go into debt buying holiday gifts because you're embarrassed. There's no shame in that game. There are plenty of people that don't give holiday gifts because they prioritize their finances.
Okay.
I love that.
I'm gonna switch gears just slightly while we have you on the line, because we are now in December. All right, the calendar year 2025 is almost in the books. Are there any measures that folks can take with regard to the end of this tax year to take before the start of 2026 in terms of our taxable income and things like that?
Yes, contributing to your 401k or maxing out on your IRA. Those are actually great things. If you haven't done that, you still have time to do it. So before the year is over, you want to make sure that you have made the maximum contributions to your IRA or to your 401k, because that reduces your taxable income for this year.
Yeah, speaking of taxable income.
Perfect.
Do you have any advice too about doing taxes? Should we, this is just, I know we're going on the tax route now, but should we be getting like a tax expert, or should we just be doing it by ourselves with just TurboTax? Which is a better way to go?
It really depends on where you are in life, okay? So if you're a college student, you don't have a lot of deductions, and you don't make that much money, it's okay just to do it yourself or TurboTax. But other than that, if you're taking deductions, you should really have a tax professional create that for you.
Okay. Pattie Ehsaei, thank you so much. Happy holidays to you, and we always appreciate your advice, especially this time of year when a lot of us are going to be digging deep into the pockets.
Happy holidays, you guys. Have a great Christmas.
All right, you too. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, this is the author of a new book telling the true story of a boy who was orphaned after he and his family immigrated from Ireland. We're going to be joined coming up by author Robert Patrick Conlon. Stay with us.
Eastland is on.
1018, the Celtic Knot. We were just getting into it, diving, and I can't wait to hear the story here live. This is Robert Patrick Conlon talking about his grandfather who was orphaned when he was 8 years old here in Chicago after immigrating from Ireland. It details everything he had to endure during that time, and it was written with a lot of research, so historical context for us here in Chicago. So thank you so much, Robert, for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you for having me. Happy re-entry day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this is re-entry day. Yeah, we're back to the races.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
And what inspired you? Obviously, this is your family, but to actually write a book about the history that you have there with your grandfather.
This was a story, in my opinion, that had to be told. I was wanting to write this story my whole life, because I've heard these stories my whole life. And I was a lawyer for 40 years in Chicago, right down the street here, and I finally retired, and I had some time on my hands. So I put this story together. Perfect. I talked to everybody I know that actually encountered my grandfather, who this story is about. And he was a really prolific writer. He wrote poems, and he wrote, you know, the lost art of sending letters to friends and family. And I put it all together and came up with a timeline. And sadly, the book and his journey starts at the age of 8 in 1885, when he was tragically orphaned. Both his parents died. And
how did they both die?
Yeah, he was, again, part of the coming of age story that's discussed in this book is Chicago was coming of age.
Yeah.
It was a really dangerous city in the late 1800s. The Chicago fire was in 1871, and the Great Rebuild took place. Chicago decided not to, like my grandfather when he was orphaned, you know, when he fall down, get back up and fight. And they, something I'm very proud of to be a Chicagoan is they built our city into, you know, a world-class city that it is today. And my grandfather survived on the streets. His sole goal, if you think of an 8-year-old living through weather like we're experiencing right now, all he wanted to do was survive the next night. And so during the Great Rebuild, his father was on the railroad, which was relied upon very heavily to help rebuild, you know, get all the junk out and bring all the new stuff in. And they were working 16, 18-hour days, 7 days a week, around the clock. And there was an overload, mistakes happened, and he died when some steel fell on the crew. And my grandmother had an accident because she had to go back to work, and she was at the store and fell from a ladder. And they stuck him, sadly, in an orphanage northwest of the city.
Is that building still there, the orphanage building?
It is. The name is fictionalized because the orphanage is a great place. It really is, and I love it. But in 1885, there was a bad guy there.
Yeah.
Like I said, ill-intending priest, and he, at the age of 8, he and one of his buddies said, "Let's get out of here." And it was very much like a fortress. They wanted to keep the kids in. And they escaped, and I go into great detail. I heard that story from him many, many times of how he figured out how to escape out of what was effectively a prison. And he ran because they were in hot pursuit, because I think the ill-intending priest, who was a very smart guy, very educated, didn't want him to be captured, because what would the first thing he would do when the cop says, "Why did you, why did you escape?" And so he hid out right south of the loop here. I never knew this. From my research, it was called Little Cheyenne, and that was the red light district. And and that's one of the, I look back, how did he survive, right? Because very dangerous time in Chicago.
Is it now Bronzeville? Or
it is. Ish, yeah.
Printers Row-ish?
Yes,
right in there? Okay.
Right in there. Little Cheyenne, and there were brothels, and he had a good singing voice. At least most of us Conlins think we have good singing voices. And he found a place which is, I'm not making this up, but I looked it up, and there's a map that shows this exact place. It's called Mushmouth Saloon. Okay? And they had bare knuckle boxing, which was illegal at the time. And he hired him to jump in the ring and sing Irish ballads in between rounds.
In between rounds?
And all the, you know, people would throw pennies, and that was his paycheck.
My God.
Where did he live? Where did he
Wow.
Well, he lived in, you know, in the gutters, but Mushmouth.
He was just a homeless kid.
He was, and sadly, there were a lot of homeless kids. The ladies that in the brothels, one in particular who herself was an orphan, and she took him in. She had a soft heart for orphans, and she would let him sweep up and sleep on the floor. Same with old Mushmouth. If he sang well that day, he'd say you could grab a sandwich and sweep up and sleep under the bar.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't it?
What an adventure. How did he, and this is all, by the way, we're seeing pictures of the Eastland disaster.
Yeah, there's the
and
Chicago fire
there's
there.
some aftermath of the fire, and then that's the Iroquois Theater, which is the infamous site of a massive fire that killed, what, 700 or 800 people?
Yes.
At least?
Yeah, it killed 603.
600.
But the problem is, there were a lot of people that died from smoke inhalation. So it's hard to know what the count was.
Exact toll was. But these are major Chicago historical events that your grandfather lived through. And I'm doing the math as well. If he was there as an 8-year-old in the 1880s, that means he was a teenager for the World's Fair.
Yes, he was. And that's what inspired him. He actually scored a ticket, or probably, knowing my grandfather, snuck in somehow. And they had, the Bell companies had a big display there. And he was inspired because he saw the first long-distance telephone call made from here to New York. And that really interested him. Fast forward, with a second-grade education, he ended up working for the Research and Development Department of Western Electric, and had 22 patents, which,
whoa,
isn't that amazing? Something that wouldn't happen in this world, you know, without the pedigree, you know.
Yeah.
You don't get hired, sadly. But he was just a really smart guy, and I think that's how he survived. He was really smart. He was one tough hombre, and I think dumb luck, or a guardian angel, depending if you believe in that, was there. Because as you saw, we do go into great detail in the book about, he had a close brush with the Iroquois Theater and the Eastland disaster.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so doing this research, was this just off of your memory of your stories that you heard from your grandfather, or did he keep a lot of things from when he was growing up and all these experiences that he had?
Yeah, all of the above, really. So we had a big family, and that's what's great. He went from being, you know, just surviving to really getting a decent job. That all he wanted to do was just, you know, have a family. That's what he was searching for. He had a wonderful family here in Chicago, and that was taken away from him. He felt so alone. Yeah. And he found the love of his life and had kids, and so this carried on, and we would all go to his house, you know, once a month, every other week, something like that. And we'd all get together, and the Conlons, like I said, they love to sing, they love to tell stories, and I would hear a lot of those. And he was a very, very modest, humble guy. You couldn't get it out. You'd have to draw it out of him. And then he would tell the stories, like, Grandpa, tell us. And then my grandmother, too, told some stories.
How'd they meet? I gotta know.
Yeah, she was an operator at Western Electric, you know.
Yeah.
Operator number 12.
Where he was working, where he was doing the R&D.
Right, but before he was doing the R&D, he was just working there, and he was kind of a fix-it guy because he was a pretty clever guy. And one day he went in, my grandmother's machine, for lack of a better word, was broken, and so they called him in to fix it. And he saw her, and he told the story.
That's the one.
When I saw her, I said, I'm going to marry that woman. And so what he did was he fixed it, and they had a no talking, because that was all women, and then of course at that time the workforce was all men, and so all the guys tried to come in and make excuses to come in and talk with the operators. And what he did after hours, he turned the machine off. There was a switch, so it appeared to be broken again, so he could come back in and fix it. The rest is history.
Hey,
they got together, huh?
That's the ingenuitive approach that gave him such resilience. This is this is like a Chicago Oliver Twist story.
It really is. When I heard the story of how they were supposed to be on the Eastland.
Yeah.
Now, if you're familiar, the Eastland disaster happened
right
at
over here.
Street. Again, 3 blocks down. In 20 feet of water tied to the moorings, 844 people died. Yeah. Luckily, my grandfather didn't. My grandmother had a premonition, which I go into great detail. You know, the Irish, they believe in fairies and banshees. It's just, you know, very superstitious people. She had a very serious premonition and said, you can go, I'm not going, and the kids aren't going.
Okay, so my history is fuzzy on the specifics, but it was a company that had chartered the Eastland that day,
The Western Electric.
Oh my gosh.
There you go.
It was their employees, and she had a feeling, hey, let's skip that day. They were just doing a day trip to like
Michigan City. Yeah, 38 miles as the crow flies. They're going to tug 5 boats, or 7,000 workers, mostly from the Hawthorne Works in Cicero, which isn't there any longer. The big, beautiful clock tower is, and what happened was, it was they had no business having 2,500 people on that boat. Right. Because of the Titanic, which happened 3 years before that, because we're in 1915 at this point, Woodrow Wilson signed a law that said, for all passenger ships, you have to have a spot on a lifeboat for 75% of the passengers. Those things are really heavy, and that was a really unstable boat that was retrofitted, originally designed for 500 people, 2,500. Anyways, it was top heavy and flipped over again in 20 feet of water. Nobody knew how to swim back then either. But my grandfather, because of the premonition, was on the Teddy Roosevelt, which was right behind them, and saw the whole thing through Life Vest. Yeah,
what a fascinating story.
Yeah, it really
it's
is.
all laid out in the new book, The Celtic Knot, An Orphan's Tale of Survival, Family of Love in Chicago. So we're meeting the author before this thing gets made into a major motion picture starring Leonardo DiCaprio.
I love it. Or Colin Farrell.
Or Colin, exactly.
The dark Irish.
But honestly, no, it's when I say like a local Oliver Twist, because this is the same time that Devil in the White City unfolded. And I mean, this is Chicago. The red light district that was right here. We've got like all these things that have.
This has to be made into a movie.
I mean, totally. This is great. Robert, Patrick,
Wow.
Colin, congratulations.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh, before we go, where can folks get their hand on this little stocking stuffer this holiday season?
Yes, and we got to tell the guy from the Tribune to add.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the Biblioracle.
Yeah, it's at Eckhart's Press, my publisher, which is a local publishing company that specializes in Chicago stories or Chicago authors. And it's Eckhart's Press, ECKHARTZ Press.com, or just Google Robert Conlon and Celtic Knot. And
Hold on, we are looking at a close-up of the cover right now. Is there any way you can point? Is your grandfather in that, that picture?
Sure.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, don't move it.
Okay.
Just point.
It's that guy right there.
With the little baby?
In the hat.
Oh, the hat.
Baby, and that's my lovely grandmother next.
Okay. There he is. There's Tim Conlon. Timmy Conlon.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Oh my gosh, wow.
He's happy there, and it's just to see his life transition to that point really just warms my heart.
What a resilient individual.
Yes.
He was all by himself.
Right, he did have, he reconnected with his sister, is in there somewhere.
Really cool. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here, Robert.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
We are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, as Robert mentioned, we are going to be visited by the Biblioracle himself with some other book recommendations. That's when we come back after this.
Thanks, guys.
Nothing.
The history of Chicago is so interesting. So interesting.
Yeah.
Anthony and I were just going off about it. Okay. Right turn. We're talking about books. books. For the holidays, this is a perfect segment. So we're talking about the Biblioracle column with the author for holiday reading gift picks. The author is John Warner. Thanks for joining us this morning,
hey, John.
Good to see you again.
Good morning.
Okay, so
happy holidays.
You too.
Happy holidays. The Biblioracle is, in case you didn't know, it's a segment that you do, right, where you recommend books to people based on the previous handful of books that they've read. So you can almost determine what book they're going to read next or what book they would enjoy next. So let's get into it. First of all, your holiday reading gift picks. What do you have going on this year?
Well, so it can be tough to buy people who, they're the readers in your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're big readers, but you don't know what they've read. You're worried about giving them something they might not like. So I have a few recommendations. One is shop at independent bookstores where there are experts in books behind every counter or wandering the aisles, including shout out to the Book Bin in Northbrook, Illinois, the store my mom started when I was a year old that's still operating. Those people can help you find books that may be a little bit off the beaten path, the ones that people are less likely to have read and could be new to them and unexpected. That's not just the usual, Reese or Jenna or Oprah pick. Another thing you can do that I really like is like to buy a really nice coffee table book, right? Like something that looks good. It's going to look good on the coffee table. It's interesting. I don't know if this will show up on camera, but I just got this one. Delivering for America. It's a history of the United States Postal Service.
Cool.
That is absolutely fascinating. We would not have a country without the Postal Service. So you can find the thing people are interested in. I recommended in the column this week, I recommended a book that literally talks about every song Fleetwood Mac ever recorded in the entire history of the band.
Wow.
And there it is, in exhausting detail. I don't know, the guys who wrote that book were maniacs because all they did was unearth every factoid about Fleetwood Mac. If you're a fan of like those behind the music shows,
sure.
This goes long past behind the music. This is like behind the music, underneath the music, all around the music of Fleetwood Mac. So if they're like a fan of that, that would be great. I recommended the books of David Macaulay, who he's still around. He's still producing, but he wrote these books back in the 70s. Castle is one. There's another called Cathedral. Another is called Pyramid, which are sort of these illustrated histories of these structures, and not just like the architecture and the features of them, but what it was like for the people who were building and living near these things at the time. So there's these amazing capsules of both sort of the history and architecture and imagery of these different historical buildings. I loved them as a kid. They hold up incredibly well, and I think anybody would be fascinated by them.
They do look fascinating. We were just down in Mexico City, and we took a little day trip to Teotihuacan, which is this ancient, Central American complex, and there was these two pyramids that I don't think they were as big as the Giza pyramid, which may have been on the cover of that one, but but when we went to the museum afterwards, there were these artists' renderings of what it took thousands of men to haul the stones in, and you get an idea for just the scale of the operation is absolutely wild. I'm not surprised that took you in as a boy.
Yeah, and Macaulay he's really a sort of a legendary illustrator and writer, has a number of other books, and it's great that, these things are still in print, right? I was reading them in the 1970s. And they're still out there, available at any store, easy to get for anybody who might be interested in.
That's so fun. Okay, so you would recommend these books that anybody could pick up and look at. What if somebody wants to get something more personal for the reader in their life, like something along the lines of like a book that they would be interested in reading themselves instead of just putting it out there for everybody?
Well, go to the experts. You can email me if you know people are reading. But I also, if you know somebody is a really big reader, one of the fun things you can do is get sort of a collectible or keepsake version of a favorite book. You can get like a first edition, you can get a foreign edition that has a different cover, or an older edition. One of the things that's happened over time with books is the covers have gotten increasingly sort of Instagrammable.
Yeah.
And if you can go back in time to popular books of a previous era, you can see some books that see some covers that really sort of stand out and are kind of special. You can get a first edition book. You can get signed first editions. Sometimes these things can get very, very expensive. There's a particular one by one of my favorite authors, Flannery O'Connor, that I think is up to $3,500 if anybody has me on their list for that kind of budget. But you can often get them for much less than that. My recommendation is either go to a good used bookstore, and Chicago has a number of them. It's very fun to sort of browse the aisles. You can also go to Abe Books. ABE Books is a sort of online site that aggregates used booksellers all across the country. The other thing I would say, if you don't know what book to get people, and I bet Patty would disagree with this, because I know people often don't use gift cards and they go to waste. But here's what I can promise you. If you give a bookstore gift card to a reader, they will use it. In fact, they'll use it the day after they got it. So I think gift cards for readers to bookstores are pretty safe things. And again, any of the big stores have them, but every independent store will have their own gift card available as well.
Why is that, do you think, that it's such a guarantee slam dunk? Because a lot of us have like a Target or an Amazon or a Starbucks gift card that just kind of sits there for a while.
Readers go to bookstores on a mission, and that mission is to find and buy books. And big readers, if you're, and I'm a big reader, obviously, you go into a store and there's always more books than you think you should buy, right, on your budget. Say, oh, I'm going to spend $40 today. Well, that might be a couple of books, or even just one big hardcover. So to go in there with like a $20 or $30 or $50 gift certificate, and knowing it's like, ooh, I get to fill out my basket this time with anything I could want, within reason, is an exciting thing for any reader. And it's something, even somebody who buys a lot of my own books, I even get a lot of free books from the publisher, I still love a good bookstore gift certificate, because it means I have a special trip to the store on tap for me, and I always look forward to that.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of specific. It's, hey, I know you love books, so I'm going to get you this gift card to a bookstore instead of just, you know, like the Targets and Amazons. And
right.
I'm going to buy some paper towels or whatever with those.
Yeah.
So, John, my question to you is, you said you're a big reader. What are you reading right now? What are you excited about?
I'm always reading a bunch of things simultaneously. One of the things I'm reading for right now is this thing called the Tournament of Books, which I am involved with as a color commentator. It's like a March Madness style tournament that books face off against each other in a one-on-one matchup, and then they advance through brackets where different individuals are judging them, and I, along with my friend Kevin Guilfoyle, who's a Chicagoan himself also, we do the commentary on them. So I'm reading for that. The long list for that is available at thetournamentofbooks.com, so they can see those. I've got Ian McEwan's new book is on my nightstand. I've got ones coming out in the spring. There's a new book by Richard Russo, who was previously won the Pulitzer Prize for Empire Falls. I'm really looking forward to that. There's never a shortage. There's always more than enough. There's too many books, really.
It's a good problem to have.
So it's a good problem to have. And if anybody really is frustrated by what they're reading, I encourage them to reach out to a bookseller or me. I'm at Biblioracle at gmail.com. Send me your last 5 books and I'll tell you what to read next.
That's a really nice service. Before we let you go, John, one of the more general gifts that you were suggesting is called an author literary quote clock. What is this?
This thing is amazing. So I put this on the list because this is me manifesting this for myself as a Christmas gift. I do not own this, but it's a clock display that every minute displays the time using an actual quote from a published piece of writing, a book or short story or poem. And it looks cool. I cannot believe that they have a quote for every minute of the day.
Whoa! Every minute of the day.
And I assume some repeat, but many don't. But it just seems so cool to me. I just love the thought of, like, I'm at my desk, I'm working, I look up, and there's every minute I could see a new quote from some book
that is cool.
as inspiration or reminder of the amazing things that people are capable of.
We were just seeing some screenshots there, and I was reading the quotes for each time. It forces you to kind of pause. It's almost like a little meditation.
Yeah.
It forces you to kind of take a beat
and understand
in your
what you're
day.
reading. Focus for
and go for a little context. Oh, Roald Dahl. And when my father woke me at 6 o'clock next morning, I knew at once that this was the day of days. They were about to go pheasant hunting that day. That's one of my favorite books of all time. Danny, the champion of the world.
One of my big worries if I get this is I'm going to spend all day looking at the clock.
Yeah, that's true.
Doing my work.
That's a great gift. So this is is that an Amazon thing? You can just, or where can you pick that up?
I think you just Google it. I found it through the New York Times Wirecutter gift recommendations, and immediately put "I want it" click next to it. So I think it's probably Amazon or elsewhere, and pretty easy to find. And my only hope is that my loved ones are buying that now, and they don't get snapped
Hey, you're
up
putting it out into the universe.
first.
I feel good that you're gonna get it, John.
Hey, John, by the way, Celtic Knot, add it to your list.
Oh yeah.
Seems like it's going to
Will do. Looks like a great Chicago story. As you guys know, Chicago's filled with stories, an amazing literary city with a lot of history and a lot of great writers. There's never a shortage. If somebody wanted to just read about Chicago for a year or 5 years or 10 years,
completely.
They could do it.
John, thank you so much. The Biblioracle himself. Thank you, sir. Always appreciate your expertise.
My pleasure. See you next
Happy
time.
holidays.
Bye.
Yep. Yeah, we'll have him back in 2026. I hope he gets that clock.
Yeah.
He's got to get that clock.
So cool.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Speaking of Chicago, Do 312, Fei Tang, GM over at Do 312, is going to navigate us around town this holiday season. All the options for what to do. He's got them.
Make your list.
Yeah.
Get your calendars ready, everybody.
This is a fun time. It's going to be a fun time of year. It's a little cold out there. We're going to be talking with Fei Tang coming up.
Yeah.
Welcome back, 10:49. Have you heard of Do 2312. If you haven't, you're about to learn all about it. We just did. This is Fei Tang. He's the general manager at Do 312, and he is offering you the ability to see all these events happening around town, especially for the month of December. We want to get in all of the holiday-esque things in Chicagoland. So there's a number of options of ways that you can get the information from Do 312. So let's start there. First of all, thank you for joining us, Faye.
Yeah.
What are all the different avenues that people can find your company?
Sure. Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me and allowing us to kind of talk about what we do.
Totally.
So Do 312 is a discovery platform for the city of Chicago. We operate in 21 other cities as well under the parent company Do Stuff. In Chicago, we allow, or we help Chicagoans and visitors alike really discover the best things to do around the city. And we do that in a variety of ways. Of course, we have our website where you can go, and we have a lot of the event listings that we do and all of our venue partners and artists that come in town. We basically list all the cool things that are going on there. We also have a daily newsletter that goes out every day. 5 days a week, sometimes on Saturdays if there's a lot of really cool stuff going on. And we also have all of our social channels. And another really cool thing that we also have is called Do 312 More, which is a subscription service. And for $7 a month, you get a pair of free tickets to events around the city. And how that works is once you sign up, you're run through this onboarding process where you kind of are able to tell the back-end system what you're into, what kind of music what artists and musicians you follow, and based on that, it serves you up a pair of free tickets every month. And sometimes, if we have a lot of really great events going on, you can go on our back-end site and they'll serve you up free tickets, like last-minute tickets. So if you're looking for something last minute to do on a Wednesday or a Thursday or even on the weekend, you can just go to the back-end site itself, pull up your profile, and be like, oh, we have these cool events that would match up and you would really enjoy.
That's really cool. So I'm assuming if you know, Caitlin during the commercial break had asked Fi, okay, I'm a mom, like, you know, is your site curated for, so you can kind of work with the tool to customize family-friendly events.
Totally, yeah. Okay. You can have like your interests or like things to free things to do. For example, we've got a whole guide about a lot of free things to do, and you can take your family to. We've got a great editorial piece that we have is free museum days that we really like to feature and kind of like populate a lot, because there's always tiny little museums and like not only the major ones, which we love, but a lot of small niche ones that are doing a lot of really fun like holiday stuff. And those get served up, and they have really cool events going on a weekly basis. So it's always good to have a list to kind of check back to. One
spot to get all of the events in the city. I gotta say, to Anthony's point, I was thinking about bringing my girls downtown. I'm like, what are we gonna do? I don't know what's going on today on this Tuesday afternoon at 2 p.m. So this is a great spot to check it out. What are you seeing this month? Is it busy in Chicago? Obviously the holidays, but can you list a couple of different items that you have on your website?
Sure. I mean, there's just so much going on, like right in our backyard, and it's so hard to really pick just one.
Like plays? Are we doing like what are the Christmassy things?
There's always the Goodman Theater always has their shows. I forget which one it is. I should know this.
That's okay.
But there's also the Nutcracker at the ballet and all the standard ones, and those are like, you know, the things you want to do. But there's also a lot of really cool different events, such as it's called the Bruin View at Mermova Theater.
Yeah.
They're doing a run of shows where they're doing double features on a night. So they're taking over their entire theater where you can sit and watch these movies. So the first ones I think they're kicking off with is Home Alone. So they're doing Home Alone first, 1 and 2, a doubleheader, and then they're doing another follow-up the week after that, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And then the week after that, I believe it's one of my favorite holiday movies is Die Hard. They're doing that one, which is it's just really cool to be in like a concert venue and be able to watch a movie on this like amazing sound system.
So festive.
So yeah.
We did Elf last night at the Ponce household. We watched Elf. Yeah, exactly. It was great.
Spaghetti with chocolate.
Oh, with
and M&M's. Yeah.
That's right. Syrup is its own food group. Fi, some of the more popular events can come with really, really long lines. Do you have any tips on how to either avoid or navigate crowded venues or filter out sold out shows and that kind of thing?
Sure. I think a lot of this comes down to planning, right? Accurate, making sure you map everything out, especially if you're with family and kids and you need to make sure everyone's accounted for. I would suggest planning out your day or night, finding a few things to do around the area, and then kind of show up early to the major events just to avoid the lines, get there early, get what you need done, and then also find something after that to walk through, whether it's a free museum day or I know if you're doing something along Michigan Avenue, they have Christmas caroling at the Cloud Gate at 6 p.m. On the weekends, which is really cool. Something fun to do and just walk around, and there's, you can avoid all the lines to get in somewhere, but you can still be in the midst of everything, which is really cool. So yeah, taking the time to plan a few things out per area. There's a lot of really cool neighborhoods doing a lot, like in Avondale, Logan Square. There's a lot of vintage holiday pop-up markets going on there, and like a lot of really cool venues that have just fully gone all out with decorations. I don't know if you've ever heard of Color Club.
No.
So they do an installation every Christmas called Christmas Barf, which essentially is just a bunch of vintage Christmas decorations all over the venue, and they have shows there.
Oh,
but
cool!
It's just like really weird, quirky Christmas decorations.
Where's that?
Everywhere. It's up north. Just around the Avondale area.
Cool.
It's like up north there, yeah.
That sounds like a fun outing.
Really cool spot.
That sounds like a really fun outing. We were going through some of your Instagram stuff. There's a number of ways you can access everything to do at Do 312. What posts, social media posts, do you find get the most engagement, get the most shares when it comes to your footprint? I was just noticing your November list. It's just a thumbnail, but it's got all the free museum days. I could see that going nuts. Like, hey, it's like a reference card all in one spot.
Yeah, those always do really, really well for us. Just because it's like a little mini planning guide.
Right.
Save it later,
It's like I have this menu of things I want to do, and we do that every week. We come up with a post where it's our kind of top picks of what to do around the city, because there's just so much to do. It's hard to keep track of. So those do really well all the time. Another one that does really well are like, let's say we just feature like some really up and coming artists that's like really cool. We just kind of showcase that, and that kind of gets a lot of traction because we're kind of showcasing. Generally, these are a lot of Chicago artists that we love to feature, and in doing that, it's just kind of showing that we care, and vice versa. Something like, we have so much talent in this city, and it's nice to be able to get that out on our platforms.
I saw a screen that you made that said you could gift it for $50.
Yeah.
How can we purchase this for people as a gift? I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, so this was something that we came up with. It's like, how awesome would it be to give the gift of a year's worth of things to do, which is part of our Do 312 More program. And we just thought it would be a great holiday special to be able to offer that up for $50 for the entire year. So if you go to the website, the domain do312.com/moreholiday, you can actually buy individual memberships and gift them to your coworkers, your friends, your family, and all they do is once they sign up, they go through that onboarding process, and for a year straight, every month, they just check in, they get a little notice, like, hey, we have some really cool tickets right up your alley, check this out, and you get to redeem those all year. So
you get 24 tickets a year?
Yeah, a pair of tickets each month.
24?
Yep.
That's a great deal.
For $50, it's less than a night out.
That is really cool. What a good hub. All right, it's Do 312. Phi Tang, thank you so much, man.
Thank you both. So
yeah, come back. I mean, come back every month, because there's tons going on, and it's all month specific. Navigating the holidays, this is a perfect way.
Before we close the show, our director back there worked really hard. We got the video of the igloo.
Oh my gosh, yeah, before Caitlin leaves, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll everybody, there is the igloo. Nice work, Caitlin.
Thanks. So that was the entrance in the front, and then there's a slide in the back. That was the hardest part. I had half of my body in that thing with a shovel, just digging it out. I know it.
Super mom. Listen, hey, Phi, she's got young kids. They had all gone in. Caitlin dutifully stayed out there.
Am I crazy?
And finished the igloo.
questioning my sanity.
Wow.
You know?
And today she's going to be going home and wiring it with electricity.
Yeah.
Get a little heat going in there.
That's
maybe
right.
a little TV.
I'll go hang
Couple
out
lazy
there.
boys.
Hey.
Crack a beer. We're
That's what I'm
good.
saying.
I'm coming over.
Yes.
All right. We're coming up on 11 a.m. Bye.
Yes,
Nice to see
thanks
you.
so
Thanks
much.
for
Thanks
coming.
for coming.
Appreciate it. We got another hour of Chicago Now right after this.
Welcome back to Chicago Now, the 11 o'clock hour.
Stuck with me still.
You know what?
Sorry, everybody.
Caitlin just worked so hard during the 10 o'clock hour. She had to make her way out,
Yeah.
and now, I have
Yeah,
some
you're
extra
stuck with me.
listening.
Sorry, Gabs.
You know
Sorry.
what? It's okay. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was great. Family Thanksgiving. I was gushing to Caitlin at just about how much we loved and leaned into the snowfall over the weekend.
Oh, good.
You know what I
The
mean?
kids
Because
had fun?
sometimes when that happens during the work week, it becomes more pain than pleasure. And when it happens on a weekend, and I apologize to all my coworkers who had to work on Saturday or Sunday, it was so nice because it gave us an excuse to just stay in all day,
chill. I
get
know.
cozy.
So
You know what I mean?
does Theo get together with some of the neighbor kids and like play football?
They
and
do
stuff
that.
Like, oh,
yeah,
good.
they run around in the
Because
front yard.
My husband
get
was
the sled
saying
out.
how that was like their main activity when it snowed out, and we were driving around some of the neighborhoods just checking out the Christmas lights.
Oh, nice.
It was safe, and we didn't see any kids out
No.
playing. No, they're probably all inside playing video games and stuff, which is
That's
okay.
sad.
Kids.
Touch grass,
I know.
kids.
You know what?
So, but how was the rest of your week?
It was great. And I just
Thanksgiving,
got
good?
back from Cantini over
Yes.
in Wheaton, Christmas at Cantini. Guys, it is so beautiful there. Oh my
Cantini
God.
Park.
Yeah, and it was during the daylight, so I wasn't able to see any of the like light display that's actually on during the evening hours into the nighttime. But gosh, it is just gorgeous.
And
there.
you can go inside. This is, by the way, my understanding,
what
because
makes
I
it a
haven't
little different.
visited in person yet, but it is McCormick of McCormick fame,
Yes,
Chicago Tribune, this whole historic Chicago family. They're like the Rockefellers
Yes,
for New
they
York
are, really.
here in Chicago. But you can actually tour the parts of the inside of this
just
mansion,
one
right?
of their many mansions that they owned. But yes, that's what makes their light display a little bit different, because you're able to warm up. In addition to the light display, the Coco Cabanas that they have, you can go inside, get a little history lesson, and I suggest making a reservation at that Noel Lounge that's upstairs. I showed you in the 9 o'clock hour. It is just awesome. The food was great. I'm doing another little free commercial for them because it was just that much fun.
Well, no, it's
honestly.
awesome. I was saying during some of your live shots during Good Day today, it looks like you're stepping into a Norman Rockwell
It
painting.
does.
It's
That's so true.
picturesque, especially this time of year when it's so festive. Well, I'm glad you made it back for
Yeah.
Chicago Now. We got a jam-packed lineup.
We
this
do.
11 a.m. show. First up, dating can be scary if you're getting back out there after getting back in the saddle again, everybody. Don't let it discourage you, though. We are learning how we can navigate the 2026 dating scene without fear, okay?
And I love this next story. 3 friends spent almost 9 hours, more than a work shift, a typical work shift, rushing to beat a Guinness World Record on CTA's L line, and they're joining us in studio with the details. I've been following their journey on social media, and it is unbelievable. Plus, one of the 3 is trying to run every Chicago street. And I did a story about him, remember, a few months ago. We're going to get an update on how that's going as well. Yeah,
I understand
pretty amazing.
It was a nail biter to beat the Guinness World Record.
Yeah.
It was seconds to spare. They did what they needed to do. So we're going to learn all about their efforts. But first, we are learning about a new exhibition at the Beverly Arts Center that is highlighting how HIV disproportionately affects Black women. And here joining us now to kick things off here at 11 a.m., Anna Deshawn, you launched this series. First of all, welcome and happy holidays to you. Thank you so much for being here in studio.
Having me. Yeah, good to be here.
What inspired, it's called Shine a Light on It. What inspired you to launch this series?
Well, this series is actually a sequel.
Okay.
I did our first Cube original podcast series called Black HIV in the South, How Did We Get Here, a few years ago. And when I learned just how pervasive HIV still is in the South, and then I went to conferences and started talking to advocates and learned that Black women actually account for 50% of new diagnoses of HIV. And I didn't know that. I said, I have to use my gifts to amplify this information.
Oh, wow.
Because honestly, Anna, you know, you saying that comes as a shock even to me, because you kind of think it's a thing of the past, right? It's not as prevalent anymore. It's not as talked about. So you're really seeing it as a prevalent situation, and you're taking the steps to actually go out there and talk about it.
Absolutely. It's a surprise to everybody who hears that stat. It's still a surprise to me because I'm trying to make it make sense.
50% of new diagnoses are Black women.
Are Black women. And 40 years later, right, from the 80s of HIV/AIDS, right, the epidemic that killed a generation, right, of LGBTQ folks and affected my communities in particular. And I'm looking at science, I'm looking at the advancements of science and technology, and yet we still have this pervasive problem as it pertains to Black women. I think there has been lack of information, right? We don't have celebrities saying they're living with HIV like we used to when I was growing up. It's not in the music like it used to be. People have really taken it for granted that it's sort of gone away. But the reality is it hasn't. And so when I learned the information, I wanted to do what all of us good journalists want to do, which is tell other people so that they can begin to protect themselves and learn about how they can do that.
I'll never forget, it was my birthday, November 7th, 1991, when Magic Johnson made that announcement. Remember how big of a deal that was?
Absolutely.
So that would have been, gosh, I think in junior high at that point. But you're right, it's maybe, I mean, to Gabby's point, is it because it is now treatable and you can live with HIV that it has fallen off people's radar?
I think it's that, but I also think it's just lack of information as it pertains to Black women in particular, right? And when we go to the doctor, no one's asking us to take an HIV test, right? No one's telling us about PrEP. No one's telling us about PEP. No one is sharing the U=U campaigns, right? We know health funding has been cut, but even when there was funding, the people who get the funding, they aren't targeting Black women. They're targeting men who have sex with men, which is completely valid. And there is still this statistic that needs to be addressed, and there's something we can do about it. And so that's why Shine a Light on It exists.
Let's hear about this exhibit. Kind of what are
media is on display?
Yeah, so we're doing photography and we're doing audio-video storytelling. It's something I've wanted to do for a very long time, and the Beverly Arts Center is opening their doors to us on the South Side today to put this exhibit on display. So I have 3 Black women who are living with HIV, but as they say, HIV doesn't have them, right? And so we had a photo shoot with them. They got dressed up, they looking fly, okay? And then I interviewed all of them. And we went on location as well to capture their stories. I want this to be more about their humanity and less about their diagnosis, because I do think folks still believe that you look a certain type of way if you have HIV, that you live a certain type of way if you have HIV. But all of these Black women are cisgender, heterosexual women, and they were all in heterosexual relationships when they received their diagnosis. And so those are the black women that raised me. Those are the black women I hang out with. Those are the women who I want them to know that PrEP exists for them too.
You know, that's so important because I was just going to ask you to try to give a little bit of their story without giving away too much, because of course we want people to go to the exhibit. I mean, so when you're telling people about this, are they surprised? Like, you know, they think that they're going to fit one piece of the puzzle and it's totally different than what they had in their mind, stereotype?
Absolutely, absolutely. When you say HIV, black women are not who you think about. It's not who are on the ad campaigns. It's not what you're seeing on social media. It's not what you see on the commercials, right? It's just not, it's not being seen. And so this is just an opportunity for me to put black women at the forefront and say, black women, hello, we must protect ourselves. There's actually a conference called the Saving Ourselves Symposium that I attended for a few years down in Atlanta, and I just learned so much from them. And I think this is a case where we do have to save ourselves. We have to tell the message ourselves, and so that's the work.
So you've done these interviews, you have a photography piece to this. What made you want to display this exhibit in this particular way? Because
I think we have an idea of the face of this thing, but actually you don't. You have no idea who's living with HIV today. And honestly, it's the same as anybody living with any other STI today. And so I wanted to do photography, and every photo is accompanied by an audio clip from their interviews. So if you're coming to the exhibit, bring your headphones, okay? We got some great clips for folks to listen to, and we're gonna have silent headphones as well for folks to listen. And I just want to humanize HIV, destigmatize this thing. It's something we should be able to talk about in 2025 and understand that you can live a long and happy life. It is not the death sentence that it once was, right? And we need to know that it's impacting black women at such a high rate.
Especially here, so close to home, too. Make sure it's part of the conversation.
Absolutely.
So you said you're giving them silent headphones.
Yes.
How long should people, what kind of time block should people have when they go to the Beverly Arts Center? Is it a couple hours? Is it the afternoon? Is it just maybe an hour of their time? Yeah,
so we're going to be there for a couple of hours tonight because it's a launch and we're going to have a good time, okay? The photographer is going to be there taking pictures of us, and we're going to have Taylor's Tacos in the building.
Wow, okay.
You know, we love Taylor's Tacos, and so we're going to enjoy that. And we're going to have a little program where all the women get to share a little bit about their story, and we get to listen to an excerpt as a group. So come for a couple of hours, but I am excited that the Beverly Arts Center is going to have the exhibit for display for a couple of weeks. So if you can't make it today, please go and visit the exhibit. And then in 2026, we plan on traveling it around the city.
Wow.
Who knows, maybe somebody will take us somewhere else. But I think that we can expand upon this. I think this is just the beginning. I think there's a lot of people who need this message, and so hopefully this is just the start.
Yeah. Sometimes when we journalists go into a story, it doesn't quite match up with our expectations, and we learn things that we didn't expect to learn. Can you think of anything that you learned talking to these three women and building this that really either surprised you or really stuck with you that you didn't know before?
Each of them in our interviews, they mentioned how this diagnosis has given them purpose. And I don't know if I would have the same perspective about this diagnosis, right? But they felt that after they received the diagnosis, they felt like they knew what they needed to do with their life. And so each of them in their own ways are advocating for others, helping others, and they found that what they thought was going to take them out, right, has actually given them new life. And one part about this whole process that I really loved is that we did in-studio interviews like this, but we also went to their favorite places around the city to talk with them in the place that they're more comfortable without all the lights and the mics. And that is how we open up every episode. And it is so beautiful to see them in their space, sharing who they are and not HIV.
Right.
Yeah. You know, it seems like you're getting a little emotional about it.
It is, because HIV is one of those diseases that you do feel like your life is going to end when you receive the news. And so many of them have gone through so much. Mistreatment in the healthcare system, lack of resources. One sister went from Florida to Wisconsin to Illinois. And it wasn't until she got here that she found services with the AIDS Foundation of Chicago, right? Found the support groups that she needed, peers that understood what she was going through. When we talk about living with HIV, we're also talking about disclosure. Even in a world where U equals U, where untransmittable equals undetectable equals untransmittable, meaning my viral load is so low, I can't give it to you even if I try, right? But so many people don't know U equals U exists. So there's just so much misinformation, so much stigma that they have to deal with every single day just because of the lack of information.
What are you hoping will change? What needs to change? You know, you've been very, very close to this issue, obviously, to have come up with this wonderful exhibit, but what are you hoping changes as a result? You mentioned the issue of like just knowledge, prep, that kind of thing. Like, what needs to change here so the statistic can be addressed?
Yeah, I'm hoping somebody comes to this exhibit and then tells 3-4 of their friends. Like, this is something that needs to happen word of mouth in our communities, right? I'm hoping that the next time they go to the doctor, they ask their doctor about PrEP. They ask them about PEP, right? These are not words or acronyms that are familiar to women, and definitely not familiar to Black women. So I'm hoping that they see these photos, somebody sees this story, and decides to tell somebody else about it.
You mentioned that you had you started this journey with a podcast, right?
Yes.
Are you still continuing on with that podcast, or can people still listen to it if they want to listen to your past episodes?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I own 2 media companies here in the city. I mean, this is what I do, and so E3 Radio is our radio station where we're playing queer music all day long, and I host our award-winning Queer News podcast. And The Cube is our podcast company where we produce content telling Black and brown stories, intersections of being LGBTQ. And so Black HIV in the South, How Did We Get Here, is available everywhere you get your podcasts. So please go check that out. And check out all our stuff. It's good.
Yeah, wow. Well, you know what? We're going to have to do like a whole story about you and all of your missions.
Oh,
you're very interesting, yeah.
Anna, thank you so much. Once more before we go, tell us what, if folks want to check it out in person tonight, what they need to know, and if they can't make it tonight, your message once again.
Absolutely. Meet me, or beat me to the Beverly Arts Center tonight at 6 o'clock. We're going to have a wonderful time. Bring a couple of friends, and if you can't make it tonight to the Beverly Arts Center, go visit for the next couple of weeks. The exhibit will be up for you to enjoy.
Okay, so where can folks find you online if they want to follow along with your storytelling?
It's so easy. At Anna Deshawn across all your favorite social media platforms. We have a good time there.
Perfect.
Anna, thank you so much. Congratulations on this opening tonight.
Yeah.
It's really,
thank you so much.
Really great. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are talking about dating. Dating has changed a lot in recent years. Gabs, can I ask you a personal question real quick? Did you overlap in your dating life with like the whole online thing, like apps and all that? Okay, because I'm so old that I missed that whole thing. I'm very curious about.
I think we could both learn a thing or two. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so we're going to be talking with Jackie Del Rosario, America's relationship coach, about dating in 2026 when we come back.
welcome back to Chicago Now. Now, as you were saying, Anthony, dating has changed a lot in the recent years, hasn't it?
Evidently.
Oh my gosh.
I've been married for 13 years.
Okay, yeah, 4 months here.
4 months.
It's been really interesting.
Yes.
Okay, well, dating, of course, is scary in itself, but those fears only get worse if you're getting over a breakup and hoping to start dating again. We're helping you get back out there with Dr. Jackie Del Rosario, known as America's relationship coach. Thank you so much, Jackie, for joining us.
It's my pleasure, of course, to be with you.
Okay, so I guess the big question is, what has been the biggest changes in the recent years when it comes to dating?
Well, dating is mostly done virtually. It used to be that a gentleman would have to have his skills together to really know how to approach you, to engage you in some sort of dialogue, and then how to swoon you or how to woo you. And those are skill sets that most men don't have nowadays. As a matter of fact, there is a study that suggests that 67% of men say that their first contact with women has never been face-to-face. It's been through some sort of a platform.
Wow.
Wow.
Two-thirds. And so to zero in, the topic we're talking about now is like kind of getting back out there, okay? So what do you see your clients going through when they've been, let's just say they've been married for a number of years, they're at the point again where they're ready to meet someone new, the biggest challenges or unexpected things that they face right out of the gate?
Well, the first thing that I always am approached with is, how do I find the right one? What I hear in my practice is that many people they're aware of what the dating protocol is today. They know that you have to, get some sort of a app, you're going to be swiping or whatever, and that you have to develop this profile. But a lot of people have played that game, they've tried it, and they're not very satisfied with it. They're looking for something deeper and more meaningful. And so a lot of times I'm trying to encourage people, be yourself. Understand that there is a general culture out there around dating, but it doesn't mean that you have to go with it if it doesn't work for you.
Should people though feel obligated or feel forced? I think you kind of mentioned it, to be on the digital side. Like, if things aren't working, should you just be yourself? Also just approach people at the bar and say, heck with it. This is how I'm so used to dating after, 20 years ago, and it worked for me then. It's probably going to work for them now, right?
But here's the thing, the very same skills that you're going to need to develop to approach someone and to develop dialogue are the same skills that's going to help you to build a healthy and a fulfilling relationship with them, and hopefully eventually a marriage if that's your goal. But I think that what we're trying to do a lot of times is to replace one thing with another. So whether you use an app or not, use your app, but try to begin to create meaningful moments with that person that are real time. So in other words, divert away from staying on the app and, nonverbal communication to actually meeting together and forming real connections with that person in person.
So you're saying this does not have to be an either-or thing, like you have to be on the apps or you have to go person in person. You can do both these things concurrently.
Well, I'm suggesting that that's what you do. So if you're going to use the app to broaden the net, if you will, so that you can meet more individuals, that's fine. But once you do meet them, go away from the app as much as possible and begin to have real connection with that person. And again, just like learning how to approach someone out somewhere and to start speaking with them, you're going to have to develop the skills now that are going to take that relationship from a date or two into something deeper and more meaningful. So you need to learn to communicate. You need to learn to form connections. I remember hearing so many people say, we have a connection. And I really began to probe, because I was wondering, what do you mean by this? And what I found is that what people are saying is there's something there that's deeper and that's meaningful. But guess what? You can create it if you understand how to develop it. And a lot of that has to do with skill sets. And these are the skill sets that I think that are fading away because they're just not being deployed.
That makes sense. Okay, if you want to dabble maybe in some of the digital dating scene, are there certain apps that maybe people who are more mature should be using versus someone who, is in their early 20s or late 20s? Or does it really matter, Jackie? Can they kind of go across the the apps?
It definitely matters. I think it's not a one-size-fits-all.
Okay.
But what's beautiful about the dating apps is that they're very, very specific. You can be a farmer and there's an app for you because you're a farmer. You can be a Christian and there's an app for you because you're a Christian, or if you're Jewish, whatever your faith is. So you want to really be specific about the type of person that you're wanting to connect with. If it's something just for fun, there's apps for that. If you're wanting something more meaningful, if you're an older individual or a younger individual. So I would say choose the size that fits you. So not one size fits all.
What would you say to someone who's trying to manage their expectations going into this, if they have been out of the dating game for a while? Is it something where you can expect to meet and be going on dates within a week or two? Or is it something where, hey, you know what, buckle in for a while. This is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, but hasn't it always been? I mean, that's something that has never changed. I mean, how many of us can say how long we were single before when we wanted to be with someone? We wanted to be coupled up. So I don't think it's ever been anything other than a marathon. Because really what you're doing is you're looking for that person that's right for you at this particular stage of your growth in your life. And so a lot of times it's about us figuring out who we are, where we are, and what is it that we need in our life in a partner or in a person that we're dating at the time. And that seems to be the piece of the puzzle that most people don't really look at. Do I understand who I am now and what I need in my life at this moment? That's the inner work that most people don't do. So they jump on the app and think that presto, it's going to make everything appear for them. But there's still that work that we have to do as individuals as well.
Yeah, I guess that's part of like emotional maturity, right? And that's one thing that you want to make sure you have down pat before you probably get into a lot of these dating apps or going to meet people outside. How do you practice that, you know, emotional maturity before you do get into the dating world?
Well, emotional maturity starts with you knowing and loving you. Now, if you don't love yourself and spending time with yourself, then who else should? You know, so I think that's the beginning. For me, that was the foundation. I've been married 35 years, and I figured out when I was in college, you know what? I'm not sure that I have the winning recipe. And there is a winning formula for finding someone that will give you what you need in a relationship partner. And I think that that's most important. But what I had to do is do the homework to figure out, who am I? What makes me happy? What do I need? I also had to figure out that a lot of what we know about relationships is romanticized. You know, we watch these pithy comedies and we come up with this formulation of what real relationships are. And they're really a little bit messy. They're really a little bit more, much more mundane than what you see on these shows and things like that. So do we have the right concept of what a real relationship is all about? And what are those ingredients? I think a lot of our fear around relationships and around marriage is because we don't feel that we're prepared and that we have enough of the skills or the answers. We don't have enough answers to some of those questions that we have about relationships. You know, it's funny. We teach people how to read and write. We teach them how to drive a car, but no one teaches you how to choose a suitable mate or how to develop healthy, strong children.
I know, those are kind of like, we all improvise. I feel like I'm improvising every day on this. Jackie, when people go to set up their profiles on this, I can imagine that if you haven't thought about these questions in a long time, hey, when you're answering it, a lot of times you might be taking inventory in real time just to come up with a profile that reflects really who you are. What advice do you have for folks, male and female, when they get out of a long-term relationship and it's time to come up with these profiles?
Well, you know, here's the thing. I think my dad used to say, when you're going fishing, you got to figure out what kind of fish you want to catch, and that tells you what bait you need to use.
Oh, okay.
I think that goes a long way.
It does.
What is your end result? What is your end goal? And then you're going to develop your profile based on that.
Because it could look way different. If you're looking for something more casual, more temporary, you're going to probably answer or punch in different stuff than if you're looking for marriage material in a long-term relationship.
But sometimes I think you can reach out for help too. I don't want to, you know, throw my sister out there, but my sister had a dating app that she, you know, configured herself. She
got some pictures that she thought were good of her. She had a run-in with my little cousins. They switched up her profile. Now she's attracting the kind of people that she was wanting to attract.
Interesting.
Because she was able to kind of help with their curating, but then also having their like modern, you know,
everyone needs
how
another
how
eye.
things should look. It's kind of changed. So is it okay to maybe ask people that you trust for help, that you know are also maybe in loving relationships, to help you out in the dating scene a little bit?
I think so. Well, you just said that your sister used someone younger to kind of help her to put together the profile. Isn't that what you inferred?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Well, because there is a culture, there is a branding all around how you do social media. So what I'm hearing is that her younger relative understood how to present things more appealing.
Saw her brand, was able to communicate it with her, and then was able to curate her profile to match what she was feeling. Yeah, which was amazing.
I'm going to get specific here, Jackie. What is your advice when it comes to folks' profile pictures? I've heard rumblings, you know, I've been married for 13 years, not 35 like you, but, you know, I'm into the double digits at least. Horror stories of people who...
right there is a feat.
Thank you. Thank you so much. But horror stories of the online dating world where the profile picture in some way does not meet reality, if that makes sense.
Well, now with AI, oh my God, I could be looking like a supermodel, you know.
Well, you do, so.
You know,
yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'll pay you for that compliment later. But I will say this. I wouldn't appreciate it if I am talking to someone after seeing their profile, and then when I finally meet them in person, I don't even recognize them. So, you know, some people do that and they feel comfortable doing it. For me, it's a little deceptive. So no, I would suggest that you choose pictures that really kind of show your personality as well as your exterior. You know, I want to know what kind of person does that picture communicate. I also notice when you use pictures that really show front on a view where you can really see the eyes, and the eyes are really highlighted, a person feels more trusting of you, and they feel more connected to you, like they know you. So, you know, whereas if you take a picture that's very far off and then one that's a closer shot and there's actual like direct eye contact in that photo, I think that those are photos that do work best for us.
I could see that. Okay, Jackie, overall, one more time, people shouldn't be fearful about getting out there and dating again. Maybe your top couple of pieces of advice before we let folks go.
I think number one, you need to realize that social media or any platforms with apps and dating are just that. They have their own culture around how they operate. And so if you're wanting something that's different than what the brand is demonstrating, I think you need to tailor what apps you're using to be more appropriate. And then I think you also need to manage your expectations. Know that maybe a large percentage of the people that you reach out to might not be interested. Those that do might not be who they present themselves to be. So I just think being realistic about your expectations is another one. And then lastly, I would strengthen your relationship reality. And what I mean by that is, what do you consider is a real relationship? What are you really pursuing here? Know that. Know how important truth and honesty is going to be in your pursuit of the right person for you at that particular moment.
Amazing. Dr. Jackie Del Rosario, America's relationship coach. Thank you so much for helping us sort through all this. We appreciate it.
Oh, and congratulations to you. I'm sure you'll be number 14.
I hope you're right. And Gabby is 4 months in. She just got married, too.
Congratulations, Gabby.
Thank you.
Really
Congratulations
great.
to you.
Call me if
35
you need
years.
anything.
Exactly.
Okay, well, thank you so much. We'll have you back.
The first year is kind of rough. You know, it's the hardest year.
Hey,
You know what? Yeah.
1000% agree.
So
thank
far.
you so much. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Gabby, I got to ask you this then. We've been talking so much about the apps. How did you and your now husband meet?
You know what's funny? We met during an interview.
During an interview?
Yeah, when I was in college, it was my capstone project, and I had to come up with a story and for my broadcast journalism class, and Brendan was a hockey player. The ice compressor broke at the ice rink, and so I interviewed one of my friends who was a ice skater, and I interviewed Brendan. because he was a hockey player, and you know their game got canceled.
Because the ice compressor broke.
Practice did, yeah.
Is that the ice compressor? Is that the Zamboni, or is that a different
The ice compressor is what makes ice, so makes it stay.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
got it.
And so it was a big story over in my college town, and so that's what I chose to do the story.
Thank goodness that thing broke down.
No kidding,
right? Wait.
In cold old South Dakota.
Mine has to do with journalism too, because I had met my wife 5 years prior to when we actually like started dating.
Yeah.
But the reason we started dating was because I was on a story.
Really?
I was on a story at Neuqua Valley High School. There was a guy named Evan Lysacek who won the gold medal in figure skating in 08, I think, or 10. And he had gone to that high school, and so he was speaking at the event, and I went out to cover it because you know it's this gold medalist, conquering hero coming back, and Maggie was there. She's a photographer.
Yeah.
She was there shooting the event too.
And you caught her eye.
All about journalism.
Love at first sight, huh?
Storytelling.
So funny.
Leading us to our
Boom.
So yeah,
That's how
there we
it's
go.
done. We got lucky.
All right, I'm glad to know this.
Yeah.
We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I am so excited to hear from these three friends who visited every single L stop in 9 hours. Every stop on the CTA. And this is a Guinness World Record. We're gonna have them in studio after this short break.
People don't talk.
Anthony, I love this story. Everyone at home is going to love this too. A few weeks ago, a group of 3 friends, we have 2 of the 3, spent their Monday visiting every CTA L stop in order to break a Guinness World Record. They had to do it in 9 hours and finish with just about a minute to spare, 8 hours, 58 minutes, and 55 seconds. That's incredible.
Wow.
Exactly.
They're here to tell us more about their experience. Job and Matthew, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you very much for having us.
We know that you're busy trying to break all these records because there's another one that you guys are trying to do too. But what made you want to attempt this record?
Well, it stemmed from a dream.
Okay.
And I know that sounds
Literally,
like an
it was a dream.
exaggeration.
Oh, like an actual...
No. I based some important life decisions on it.
Really,
But go ahead.
Anthony?
Yeah.
It's true. So essentially, Matt found me because of the new segment that you did on me.
Which show?
Running all the streets of Chicago.
So thanks to Fox for that.
Hey, good. Well, I'm so glad.
Fantastic. And so Matt is trying to also run all the streets of Chicago. He's at 30%, I'm at 75%. And so we were like, why don't we just go to, I had the dream of going to every like community area in Chicago, so there's 77 of them. I'm like, why don't we just spend the whole day and go to all of them, just running? Maybe that could be a world record. And then Matt was like, well, what about the CTA? Why don't we go to every CTA
Exactly.
running? And we're like, well, that would be difficult. I wonder if there's like a record for the CTA, but to go on the trains, but we can incorporate a little bit running. So that's what
That's true. It
happened.
was because he texted me at like 6:30 in the morning, so it was a dream, or else why would he be up?
That's true.
So when you looked into it, there was a record that needed to be broken.
So there's unofficial records.
Okay.
Okay.
Because like stations are always being built and stuff like that, there's no current record, but they have like a minimum, and the minimum is like 9 hours 15 minutes. So we just decided to go for it.
So how chaotic was this day? Because if I remember right, this day was when we had the last like significant snowfall, right? That we
You
just
did it on the day of a
Saturday.
snowfall.
It was on that Monday.
You set the
Better
record.
story.
Weeks ago.
So the record was 9:15 roughly, the unofficial record. How did you go about planning the exact route? I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to the CTA. How did you guys map it out?
Well, we tried to like incorporate a little bit of running.
Okay.
Because like the CTA map is kind of like a spider leg, so it's like it goes out, but it doesn't really loop around. It only loops in the loop. And so what we did is we tried to incorporate runs in between the end of lines. So for example, we did the end of the green line, ran to the end of the blue line. Only like
And then hopped on the blue line, came back in.
And how long approximately was
like
that?
blue to
what
brown.
length?
Got it.
Was it a mile or so? Half a mile?
yeah.
Oh yes, you ran from O'Hare,
We did 3 runs, maybe 4 total miles that day, but part of it was in the blizzard. That was cool.
That's what I'm
So you
saying,
get better
yeah.
footage that way.
So wait, if you went to from the blue to the brown, did you get off at O'Hare and then run to Kimball? Is that how?
So I can tell you the whole really quick.
Okay.
So essentially we started at Linden in the purple line.
Oh, right, purple.
We went to Howard, and then we took the yellow line to Dempsey-Skokie. It was a 50-minute delay, but then we came back, and then we went all the way down to 95th, and then 95th we came back to 63rd, ran to Cottage Grove, took the train to King Drive, took the bus all the way to Ashland 63rd.
Oh.
I sound like a nerd here. But,
No.
Then we went all the way up to Roosevelt, and then we took the Orange Line all the way to Midway. Midway, we took the 54B bus to 54th and Cermak. Pink Line went all the way to Clinton. Clinton, we went all the way to the end of
Harlem, Green Line.
Harlem.
The green line. Thank you
Blue
for
line.
putting up the map. This is helpful.
This is helpful, yeah.
And then the blue line, we ran to the blue line.
From the end of the green line.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we went all the way up to
Belmont?
Belmont, yeah.
Belmont.
Ran all the way up to Kimball, went down through the brown line, did the loop, and then finished off at O'Hare. So we didn't do.
Oh, there you go. That's smart.
You know what?
And that's not wasted at all, because you're talking to a CTA nerd here, and then
a traffic reporter, which don't steal my job, Job. Hey, I have a task for the people behind the scenes, because if you go to my Instagram, you look under my followers, I follow Job, and he has some great footage from that day too, of you guys actually running in the snowstorm. You brought your Chicago flag, because if I remember right, you had this tied like a
cape.
Yes.
Like a Superman
This is
cape.
the actual one. Look, it has.
Yes.
Yeah, from the snow,
Because
right?
people would stop us and like, what?
Battle worn.
So we just
battle worn.
Yeah, eventually.
Exactly,
That's
I love it.
really awesome.
So how?
There it is.
But let me ask you again, guys. How chaotic was actually getting to each stop? And you probably faced some delays then because of the snow.
yeah.
How did that go?
It was, I mean, you make the best of it. Like, I was in charge of the log, and I was trying to be like, we're literally in world record time. Let's keep it up, you know, and so just motivate people. But it was fun because we're running to the green line in the blizzard, in the snow, and some random guy is like, I don't know what you guys are doing, but keep doing it. And I'm like, that's cool. And if people were honking, and like, we got flags on, and people have no idea what's going on, and it's like, yeah, so
That's
it's fun.
fun.
So you make do with difficulties because there's that
Love this
motivation.
city.
Okay,
I love
so
this
you weren't
city.
that angry when you hit a train and there was a delay.
He would be angrier, but
I'll be angry.
But Job is competitive. I know that by
That's
now.
true.
After
Yeah.
your
What about a couple things? Eating and using the restroom.
Yeah.
yeah, eating. Well, he was in charge of packing the food.
So you brought.
It was a
You
little
carried.
light on the
You
food.
carried. Okay.
There were some complaints by some people.
Yeah, we ate lunch at 9 a.m.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Might have ran out of food a little early in the day.
Wait, what time did you start?
7:21 was.
7:21.
But we had to obviously take the train on up.
Right.
The blizzard. So I woke up at 4 a.m. that day in order to
Wow.
ultimately get there.
Yeah.
At 7:21.
When we were running from the green line to the blue line, we did stop at a Dunkin' and went to
There
the
you go.
bathroom.
Oh, there you go.
Hey.
Yeah, but we couldn't like go to the bathroom outside of a bathroom because Guinness specifically states you cannot break any rules when you're attempting a record. So like
you can't violate the law.
So no public indecency.
Yes.
Yeah. Can't. Okay. Yeah. I would like to dive more into that. Okay. How did Guinness get involved in this? And then what was the process to get the record actually? I don't know if the word certified is the right word, but tell me about the process.
There's a lot of evidence. Like he was in charge of submitting it all. A lot of pieces they require.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially, so you have to like apply, and then they send you like the evidence packet. And when they send you the evidence packet, then you just have to follow all the rules. We had to film the whole thing.
That's what his brother did. His brother wore a camera to record it for 9 hours. So it's a lot of work.
Now it's in Guinness's hands, right? All the evidence?
Yes.
Or is it not yet?
Yeah.
And how long does it take for you to know if you got the Guinness World Record?
12 weeks of approval.
Wow.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We did it on the 10th of November, so now we're waiting about 12 weeks for that.
Oh, okay. So maybe early 2026.
That's the plan.
Yep.
And that's about the time, hopefully, you'll get your running every Chicago street
We'll see.
done.
Spring of 2026.
Yeah, let's talk about that for you both, because that's another layer to all of this. Because I did a story about Joe. What was that? Last spring? Gosh.
April. Yeah.
April? Yeah, I remember that it was actually kind of snowy that day. You were about, I think, 25% done. How far you've gone, at least this summer, and then Matthew, you chime in right after too.
Yeah, so I'm now at 75% of the whole city. So yeah, hopefully become the first person in history to run every single street in Chicago. And then me and Matthew, we do long runs on the weekends. Most times. And
I'm at about 30%.
Okay.
So I figured take the scenic route, take a little more.
For the record, there are 4,000
miles.
4,000 miles of streets in Chicago.
Right.
The only factoid I know is that Western's the longest one, I think.
Oh, that's good. You know, I use that in trivia night sometimes.
Yes. You got to use that in trivia.
Western is if you want to train for a marathon, do Western because that's 40 kilometers.
You know, Joe, I want to try to quiz myself and remember your story. If I remember right, a few years back, you were climbing a mountain in New England, and you had an accident. You had fallen off a piece of that mountain, and you were in the hospital, correct? And that's what kind of encouraged you to start running, because you had hypothermia from that.
Yeah, essentially after that, like, mountain accident, I kind of had like a second life, like a rude awakening, essentially. And I just thought, like, life's too short to, you know, just be ordinary. So I just want to do extraordinary things.
Can we flash what we just had up on the screen again? That was I love this. Okay, so this comes up in AI mode on Google. How long would it take to run every Chicago street? And look, his name is right there.
Gotta get Matthew's
A
name.
person named, how do you say your full name?
Joe Barbosa.
Job Barbosa, okay, is currently attempting this challenge and expects to finish by the end of 2025. Is AI right, or are we thinking 2026?
I think actually pulled that from my story. Yep.
No chance. Yeah, I think they pulled it from your story. No chance 2025.
We're gonna have to do an update for you.
Totally.
Matthew, I want to know about your journey. What made you want to also run every Chicago street?
Well, one, I think Chicago is the best city in the world.
True.
Every neighborhood, I want to go to every neighborhood. I want to go to every restaurant. I want to talk to all the local people and truly experience the culture of every single place. And I will try to get people to do that. So some days I'll be like, I'm going to Roseland. I'm going to West Pullman today. I'm going to Garfield Park. And people are like, why would you go there? I'm like, well, why not? The people there are great. There's great places to go to. So I run there to encourage people to literally, our entire city is worth exploring.
Oh, completely. Do you have any streets, it probably all depends on the weather that day, but do you guys have any streets that stand out to you as a favorite or memorable in any way? I know that growing up on the, not growing up, but living on the north side for a long time, I grew to love the street of Ravenswood, right along the tracks there, because there are so many hidden, not just shops, but studios and restaurants on that street. And it's not one of those typical, like, you know, Milwaukee Avenue or Lincoln Avenue where it's just bar after bar, restaurant after Ravenswood. It's got this industrial quality to it. So I always love the street of Ravenswood. Any streets jump out at you, or neighborhoods that you just absolutely loved running through?
Me personally, I like the so-called unsafe neighborhoods that people don't really go to, because in those neighborhoods, like, people actually chat to you and say hi to you. Like, a few days ago, I was running with a flag, and like, literally on the run, like 20 people said, "Hey, bro, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
Running with a flag and stuff like that, and they came to chat to me. And so, like, yeah, neighborhoods like Woodlawn, Englewood, these types of neighborhoods, I love running in because people are so friendly. I don't have a favorite. I like everyone in Chicago, really. Yeah.
What stood out to you?
I have a lot of favorites, but I would say South Lawndale, because I like going to Little Village. You can see authentic food there, talk to local people, practice Spanish, and pretend like you don't know it, but I can, you know, understand.
Get by.
So it's good. But I wouldn't have gone there had I not been on this running journey. So there's just so many people I know and friends with who run the lake all the time, or the 606.
Right.
And I say, but that's the equivalent of running the treadmill outside. It's the same every day. Get off the treadmill, and you don't even run the streets by your house. You don't know your neighbors, so let's just go out and explore every corner.
You know, I was so worried about Joe when he first told me this, and I was interviewing him. I was like, you know, had there been any stories, like scary things that had happened? You told me that you were running and actually a ceramic plate kind of fell in front of you, and that was luckily the scariest thing that happened over the summer.
Did someone throw it at you? Or did it just fall?
Or a skyscraper or something? I don't know. You said you didn't know. Anything else that happened over the summer? Have you stayed safe? Matthew, you told me the same.
The scariest thing in Chicago are cars. Like, especially in the South Side where people don't expect runners to be. Like, people only look to like their right, but they don't look to their left. So like they run through stoplights, stuff like that. Me and Matthew, we like got hit nearly got hit.
That's true. I didn't have to roll over the hood, but it was close.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh
So
man, if you run or bike long enough in the city of Chicago, you will have an incident or two. I remember it was my bad. I took a turn down the wrong way on a one-way street on my bike, and I had a guardian angel that day, and the driver was the one who saved my life. It was I would have gone straight into this guy, and I was on a bike.
That's so scary.
Yeah, I have friends that have gotten, you know, hit by cars, and all these bike stories we do with protected bike lanes. Like, this is important because it is not safe to
100% is. Okay. We're running out of time, but if people want to, you know, follow your journey, where can they find you guys on social media? Because we want to see the results of the Guinness World Record. Also, we want to. Well, we're going to have you back for sure when you guys finish your.
When Guinness calls back in 10 weeks.
Yes, we'll be here.
Certify.
Where can people follow you?
Yes. So my Instagram is Job B Barbosa. Yeah, just put a B in the middle of my name, and that's my Instagram.
Instagram too. MRPLESE is mine. Or you can follow us on Strava.
Awesome. Okay, yeah.
Good luck to both
were
you
able
guys.
to write your name and stuff. There are just so many.
Job and Matthew, I love it.
Thank you for having us.
How cool.
You are.
Maybe you can try it sometime.
I know, right? Hey.
Maybe, traffic reporter and Anthony Palm.
Well, I will say that without this job, street reporting I've been street reporting here in Chicago since like 2007. I would not have. I've been to every neighborhood only because of my job. Like if I did, it's like you said, it's like the treadmill. If you just keep doing the same trail every day, get out into those neighborhoods.
Thank you guys. We appreciate it. We will have you back, and we'll be right back after this break.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back to Chicago Now. What a great show that we've had.
Oh,
and they just pumped me up and inspired me to do a little extra because
Joe, dang.
Two technically world records, right? Running every city street and then also doing the CTA L stops. It's a lot,
and the fact that it actually gives me comfort that Guinness has such a process to get it certified, because on Good Day we're always reporting these obscure records that have been set, and you always wonder, like, okay, I guess if you choose a category that specific, but they really make you document this stuff.
I guess they do.
They really do.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're going to go through some of the things that are trending around the world.
Trending. Okay, question for everybody. Right. Are you a gate camper? What's a gate camper, you might ask? New name for people who arrive at the airport a little too early.
Oh.
Yes, if you're checking bags, you should be there 2 hours early for domestic flights, 3 hours early for an international flight. But apparently, Gabs, at O'Hare, we have the 6th highest amount of gate campers.
Interesting.
Philly was #1. I guess people really don't want to be last minute.
And you would think that they'd be a little bit more stubborn, maybe, just like stereotypically, like they're all tough, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna be late.
Right. Okay, so here are the stats behind this phenomenon, Gabby. 95% say it's a fear of being late. Okay, that
makes sense.
Seems obvious. 64% want to grab food or drinks. That's Maggie and me.
Okay.
Our goal, whenever we have a solo vacation away from the kids, is get to the airport early enough, get to the gate so that we can go to Frontera. And get split a torta and margaritas. That's our goal.
What? That's nice.
And it doesn't always happen, but when it does, it gets us into vacation mode.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense. So I don't know if, to me, that would be a gate camper, right? Because it's not like you're sitting by the gate, like just waiting, like, oh my gosh, you know, looking at the time.
Right.
But also I could see people doing it, like if they're working professionals, like maybe they're on a business trip and they have a couple calls during the work week, need to sit there. Do their stuff.
Are you generally good at not being the person sprinting through the terminal, or
I kind of rarely travel.
Are you last minute?
Honest with you, I feel like I'm not that often on a plane, maybe a few times a year, if that. And of course, like I'm there like 2 hours before, maybe. Yeah, when I went to Central America, like 3 hours before.
You're going international. I got to get there early. This surprises me though. 44% said they get there early because they want to get the best position for boarding. I'm always in a group where it doesn't matter when you get there.
Yeah, that's a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Right?
44% said that's why they get.
I feel like
that doesn't make a difference. Right?
Who's doing that commercial right now? Like, you don't need to be like your parents. What is it? Is it Allstate? It's some insurance
but that's a good
company.
slogan.
But it's funny because you've seen those commercials where they're basing it off like of things that their parents did, and you don't need to.
No, I've traveled enough. Yeah, exactly. I've traveled enough to know that you do not need to be there early to just be the first person to show up in group.
Yeah,
I'm always in like group 7.
My mom is a gate camper. I'm not gonna lie. My mother is a gate camper.
Maybe it's an old school thing.
Yeah, maybe it is. I don't know.
All right, what else we got trending, Gabs?
Let's see. Rage bait named Oxford Dictionary's Word of the Year. We're going to do pet names tomorrow because that's going to be interesting as well. So Oxford Dictionary says rage bait is the word of the year. It says use of the phrase has tripled over the last 12 months. It's defined as online content deliberately designed to elicit anger or outrage by being frustrating, provocative, or offensive. So actually I ran into a post just yesterday where this daughter is in the video with her dad, and she's like asking him questions, and he was a past professional soccer player. And she's like, oh, you know, this and that. And then she goes on to ask him, so if you were athletic, like what sport do you think you'd be good at? And he goes, well, I played soccer, you know, but she kept on like playing on that where like he wasn't athletic when obviously he
was a former pro athlete.
He took it well. He took it well, because I've seen some other videos where they're like, what?
Here's the thing. So I feel like it was either maybe Merriam-Webster. It was one of the other major dictionaries that they had their.
Wait, we have 5 seconds. Hey, see you tomorrow, everybody.
Oh, I'm getting the.